In today's Wimba study break about transitioning from face-to-face to online instruction, Wimba study breaks, for those of you who don't know, are sort of mini case studies given by Wimba customers, and really kind of quick snippets about different experiences they've had on their own campus. So Cliff from Central Michigan and Gary from Columbus State will each just be speaking really quickly about how they've been able to do some transition at their own institutions from face-to-face to online instruction. So I want to introduce Gary from Columbus State University down there in Columbus, Georgia. He's got some interesting data about how to really kind of justify making a leap to an online program. So Gary, go ahead.
Okay, thanks a lot, Matt. I hope you can hear me. How's it going?
Good. Sounds a little bit better here.
Okay, you've loaded it up there. Thank you. Appreciate that. First of all, I want to say thanks for everybody coming in. We appreciate that. And this is my first time doing a webinar. So I've been to a couple webinars, but never presented. So I appreciate you coming. Excuse my accent. Sorry about that too. But that's the way it is down here in the South. First of all, I want to tell you that we went face-to-face down here in Columbus mainly because of some problems with our legislator. And, oh, I'm sorry. Hey, can you put back, I don't see my slides up there yet. I saw one for a second, and it didn't. It's that,
oh, yeah, Gary, yeah, sorry, Gary, I'll steer for you. You got to use that pull-down menu, so I'll steer for you.
Okay, if you'll steer for me, I'll tell you when to go to the next slide. Anyway, our Georgia legislator, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they were no longer going to pay students if they got a master's degree in educational leadership. The reason for that was they said there was too many teachers getting a master's degree in ed leadership and it wasn't being used in the classroom. So our governor decided that, well, we'll just stop paying our anybody after July the 1st, 2010 for an educational leadership, master's in educational leadership degree. And so as that happened, if you can go to the next slide, Matt, as that began to happen, our enrollment went down, and as the enrollment began to decrease, so did revenue. And so whenever you have a problem with revenue decreasing, then of course that's jobs getting lost. So we decided to do something different. That's why I call it, we got lemons and we turned it into a drinkable solution. So go to the next slide if you would. And this is our solution. Our solution to the problem was to go ahead and change our focus and our direction. We still wanted to be an educational leadership program, but not so much education, but just call it leadership. And we were going to go online and begin distance learning. We began the process back in January of 2009 with our first class, and we had about 12 students in that online program. And as we began to move on out, we did not have at that time Wimba. We only had just plain WebCT, and so we were just using discussion chats and things like that. I never got to actually see the students or talk to them very much except on the phone. We didn't have a way of doing that. We tried a little bit of Skyping and things like that. But then our college bought the Wimba program, and it really changed a whole lot of things for us. One of the things that happened was we were able to reach more students. We figured that we could increase our enrollment, and if we did, we would increase our revenue. All right, so go to the next slide. So some of the things that we decided to do whenever we decided to make this move from face-to-face to online was we had to get instructor training. So we began, I was the main one that started it all, and I decided to go in and figure out how to use this new technology. And being a digital immigrant, it was my learning curve was vertical. But one of the things that we decided we were going to do, we wanted to keep it rigorous, and we wanted to make it relevant. We did not want our online program, our distance learning, to be any different than our face-to-face classes. So I was determined that I was going to use every tool available to me to create collaboration and good instruction. And so one of the first tools I began to investigate, and this was just, this is my first semester actually using Wimba, and we have begun to use Wimba, and the students, a few of them had experience with it, but the majority of them didn't. and they really enjoyed it. We had a session last night. We started about 8:30 and went all the way to about 10:15, and the students were sharing some of their different kinds of case studies that we had been working on. They worked on some case studies that I assigned them, and once they worked on their case studies as a group through collaboration, using Wimba breakout sessions and such, then they came back, and a couple of weeks later we let them present, and they presented their findings and all their development of what they did for a protocol for a organization. They had to develop specific protocols for different kinds of organizations, and using leadership as a way of doing that. We also, another way we collaborate is with Google Docs. I don't know how many of y'all, you're probably familiar with Google Docs. That's a program in Google Mail that we really utilize a lot to let the students help and collaborate through creating documents and such. Of course, Blackboard and WebCT, they're one and the same now. We use the Blackboard discussion and the blog posts and the journals and things like that. That's very helpful, and it's made our program maintain the effectiveness and I think the rigor that we used to have or still do have in our face-to-face classes of those that are still going on. But right now, our Masters in Educational Leadership or Masters in Leadership program is doing really well at this point, and we're only in the third semester of it. We also use e-portfolios, and we use the Epsilon program for our e-portfolios where our students can develop networking with others and also keep their artifacts from internships and things they develop through our courses. They can display them in their Epsilon portfolio, which we have found to be very helpful. Instead of keeping it on a CD or keeping it on a computer here at the school, Epsilon houses it on their hard drive for us, and the best of all, it's right now it's free. It doesn't cost us anything, and we really like that. And one of the last things that we've begun to work on recently is advertising. The first thing that we did to get our online classes out to market was to do a mass email. We had about 15,000 emails we were able to purchase of just Georgia's teachers, and we hit them with it, and many of them responded to that, and then of course, that email guided them into a web page that gave them more information, and I'll share that web page with you in just a minute. And then we also use some billboards. Atlanta is really now has become our market, even though they're about 100 miles away from Columbus. Atlanta is is part of our market. We have students as far away now as Kentucky. We have some in Alabama. We have a few in Florida, and I recently recruited a student off the coast of Saudi Arabia in Qatar. He's going to be joining us, and there's another one. He's a contractor for the military. He's wanting to get his leadership degree, and he's in Afghanistan right now. So we have branched out tremendously, and it's been helpful to have face-to-face conversations with these students through the Wimba program, and the Blackboard WebC makes it possible for us to do that. And I really appreciate the tools that we have, and I really thank our president here, Dr. Tim Mescon at Columbus State University, for his vision, and also our Dean of Education, Dr. Rock.